Let's go across to our special guest, mythologist, author, a very, very popular writer, Devdutt Pattanaik is now joining us on the show. You were at the Supreme Court earlier, waiting with butterflies in your stomach for the verdict. It was delayed a little bit, but tell us first your first feelings. As far as this verdict is concerned, there's a sense of great freedom amongst the LGBT community that has dawned, and it's better late than never.
Yes, the more sense of relief that, it is a judgment, it is 5 years late. It is repairing the damage that happened in 2013, 11th December 2013. And I think this is something that was long, long overdue. And I'm so grateful that the petitioners and the lawyers took up the fight, continued the fight, and now finally it's gone.
And Devdutt, there is a fear. It's just the beginning, but there is a big fear about what happens next. Because you've also already seen some of the reactions that have come in from the fringe groups, to put it. You have the RSS saying that they are against it.
Yes.
They've put out a carefully worded statement. You've had Muslim groups also oppose it. Now, going forward, how do you see India and Indian political parties take the debate forward, Devdutt?
Well, I don't know about debate. I don't believe in debate. Debate doesn't solve anything. I certainly never do. I don't believe in it. I believe wisdom solves problems, not debate. And India is a land of wisdom. Hum gyan ka desh hai. And I think our wisdom tells us that we have to move away from delusions towards wisdom that enables us to recognize people who are diverse and different from us. It's lovely that, look at this very strange thing that is happening. RSS and extremist Muslims seem to be agreeing on something. So see, there's hope with everything. But it's not RSS. I think there are people from all groups. In every group, there will be people who are wise and unwise. And the unwise people don't like people falling in love because they themselves have not fallen in love in their lives, and therefore they're bitter and angry. And there are the wise people who understand that love is what solves and makes life wonderful. And in every group, from every political party, you will find people who are matured enough to appreciate different kinds of love. And I think the Supreme Court acknowledges that, and the Constitution acknowledges that there are different kinds of love, and we have to make room for all kinds of love.
Devdutt, you're a mythologist. You talk about the wisdom of ancient India as well, and that's exactly the argument that some religious groups make. That, in India, this is not something that is acceptable. They make the argument of religion as well as culture. Now, from your standpoint, what would you tell these people who talk of ancient India, because you believe it was the wisdom of ancient India that actually never criminalized homosexuality, it accepted it within society?
Some people believe that ancient India had flying saucers and nuclear weapon without any evidence. But I have evidence that from ancient times, queer sexuality and queer genders were accommodated in different forms in the Vedas, the Puranas, the Ramayana, Mahabharata. So I have evidence. Now, if you value evidence, you won't say such things. If many of these people, I feel they don't read enough. They don't realize how wonderful our scriptures is. They're really passing off colonial attitudes as Indian thought, and that's a very dangerous thing. Many people in the world think that celibacy is unnatural. That doesn't mean that the Constitution prevents you from being celibate, right? Many people think that celibacy is not normal because plants, animals do not indulge in celibacy. It's a human behavior. So it's quite possible that there are many groups who believe that celibacy is unnatural, but the Constitution allows you to be celibate. In fact, people think being celibate is divine and holy. In the same way, there are different kinds of love in this world, this nature, in plants, animals. You find different kinds of love. You find same-sex behavior in a lot of animals, and you also find it in humans. And the Constitution of India says, it's okay so long as it's between consenting adults in private, and you do not violate anybody else's freedom. It's fine. So I think there'll always be fringe groups who don't accept what nature accepts. There will always be fringe groups which will not accept what civilized person. They'll always be there. There'll always be that mad uncle in your house who feels you are weird. And you have to love them and bring them to the table and talk to them and just allow them to be bitter, because their life is full of bitterness.
Yeah, Devdutt, one last question, because we also have a debate coming up. And meanwhile, we're also getting live pictures from Mumbai where a lot of people have gathered to celebrate across India. We've seen at different cities, people gathering just to send a loud message across. Because, you know, Devdutt, even today, when we broke the story, and every time we've debated this, you've always had a certain section of people saying, listen, this is the maximum you can stretch it to. There are some who still say that Section 377 is not scrapped entirely, and some who will say this is it. When it comes to the issue of gay marriage, it will not go forward. Devdutt, what is next, and do you believe that legalizing gay marriages could really happen?
Well, it will happen. It's an eventuality. What I think will also happen next, you'll criminalize gay people and lesbian people from being forced into marriages with heterosexual men and women. It is as bad as honor killing. And I think that is going to happen. You can't force gay people and lesbian people to marry straight men and women and ruin not only the lives of their spouses, but ruin lives of their children. And I hope the RSS and the communist parties and all the political parties of such moral outrage will allow their sons and daughters, if they have sons and daughters, into marriages there's mutual attraction and love, and not force them into loveless marriages which are worse than honor killing. So I think that's the future.
Devdutt, appreciate you joining us on Republic TV this evening.